So my name is Tristan Murray, and this is the presentation of my research paper, The Role of Blood Glucose Management in Diabetic Foot Ulcers. So diabetes is definitely increasing in our society. It's very evident that that is true. So because diabetes is increasing, we are probably more likely going to be seeing more diabetic foot ulcers in the community as well. So I wanted to study the impact of blood glucose management on both the cause and the healing potential of these diabetic foot ulcers that we're seeing more often. So first, how exactly does diabetes cause foot ulcers? The first organ system that it affects of many is the nervous system. So we call this diabetic neuropathy. Diabetes slows down or even blocks the sensation of the nerve that the nerves send from like the bottom of the foot to the brain that tells a person that there is pressure or they feel something on the bottom of their foot. So because they lose this sensation, they're more likely to develop an ulcer on the bottom of their foot. So a test that is done to check the sensation of the diabetic neuropathy is called a monofilament test. So I found a little short video that I just wanted to show you just to give you an idea of how this is done in the community, how this test is done.
Hey everybody, this is Vlad. I know you can't see me, but we're going to do a diabetic monofilament test. So we're going to begin by touching the bottom of the first great toe. And with the patient's eyes closed, ask him, can you feel this?
Yes.
And then where am I pressing?
Bottom of the first toe.
And then I'll do this again on the bottom of the fourth toe. And I'll ask him again, can you feel this?
Yes.
And where is it?
Bottom of the fourth toe.
And now I'll do it on the metatarsal phalangeal joints 1, 3, and 5. So I'll press here and I'll ask Ron.
So again, like he said, he will continue to do the testing over the midfoot on multiple sites as well as the heel to see this, check the sensation of the patient's foot. So the second way that diabetes can cause foot ulcers is through peripheral arterial disease. So diabetes hardens the arteries that carry the blood from the heart to the feet. And because of this loss or inadequacy of blood flow, a person might develop a foot ulcer or might decrease the potential of the foot ulcer to heal. So another test that is done to check this peripheral arterial disease is known as an ankle brachial indices. So this is where you check the blood pressure, you obtain a blood pressure in both the arms, and then compare that to a blood pressure that is obtained in both of the ankles. And you typically want it to be between 0.8 and 1.2. That is considered a normal value. If it is anywhere off from that, the doctor will probably send them out for more further testing. So changing from how it causes diabetic foot ulcers to the healing potential of an ulcer, the first study that I found was conducted in 2015 in China, and this study studied diabetic foot ulcers versus patients who did not have foot ulcers, and this compared the fasting blood glucose level and their hemoglobin A1C. So what this found was there was no relation between a higher blood glucose level or a higher hemoglobin A1C in a person who had a foot ulcer compared to people with diabetes who did not have foot ulcers. So that means it typically does not mean that just because you don't manage your blood sugar better, you're not necessarily going to develop a foot ulcer, is what this study is saying. So to the next study completed in 2013, this group studied blood glucose management and hemoglobin A1C values again, and they studied it on the success or failure of a healing of a wound versus people who had to end up having an amputation. So they obtained a blood glucose level and a hemoglobin A1C And then they obtained another value either after the wound had healed or 3 days prior to the patient having to schedule their amputation. So what this group found was, again, no relation between an elevated hemoglobin A1C and blood glucose level to that of a wound healing. So just because the person had a higher blood glucose level or a higher hemoglobin A1C did not mean that the patient was not going to be able to heal their wound. The final research paper that I found was completed in 2013, and this level studied specifically hemoglobin A1Cs that were greater than 7 versus hemoglobin A1Cs less than 7, and whether this affected the healing or non-healing of a wound followed a foot or ankle surgery. And this group found that it did in fact impact the healing. So this study again said that those patients who had a hemoglobin A1C greater than 7, it did in fact impact the healing potential of their wound. So okay. So in conclusion, so we know that diabetes definitely causes foot ulcers. This is shown through diabetic neuropathy, which is tested using the monofilament, and the peripheral arterial disease, which is tested through the ankle brachial indices. Again, you want that value to be between 0.8 and 1.2. And so while we know that it causes a foot ulcer, from what I found, it's not safe to say that a non-management of your blood sugar is going to impact your healing of a foot ulcer. So here is a short little video that I found that I thought was really cool, and it really related to what my research was all about. So let's watch this real quick.
This is finally the end for the diabetes duo. You are completely surrounded and outnumbered by me, the carbohydrate, the H1C monster, and my evil clone. He's right, Captain Glucose. We're gonna need to call D-Girl.
The only problem with that, meter boy, is that she's on an important mission, helping our good friends at the Diabetes Hands Foundation.
Surrender the city and all the people with diabetes in it to me.
We shall never surrender.
Looks like we're gonna have to fight them on our own.
Not so fast, meter boy.
What is that?
It's our diabetes superhero friend, Diabetic.
Diabetic. He's covert, alert, and can cause you lots of hurt.
When diabetes strikes, I strike back.
And you're here just in time to help us save this city.
We'll take the clown and the clone. You take the monsters.
My pleasure. Controlling blood sugar will take care of the H1C monster. And I'll tame the carbohydrate with portion control.
You won this time, diabetes duo, but I'll be back again soon.
So will we, blood sugar maniac. So will we.
So there is that video, and that is the end of my presentation. Here are my references listed in alphabetical order, and thank you so much for listening.